and Hoofnagel have to fix their hair.
Yeah.
All right, we are live.
I got a quarantine cut.
Live here on
My wife gave me.
live here on April 13th, 2020 for our Leestown virtual site-based meeting. So it is now 5:02 and we do have quorum. So I'd like to call the meeting to order. And right now in the meeting, we do have joining us Joe Gibson, Abby Clay, Jamie Hoofnagel, Ronetta Wilder, Seth Miller, Tanya Meekins, and then Brandon French is running the studio. So, hello everyone. Hello everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
So, first thing of business that we have is just approval of minutes from March 9th, 2020, and I've sent those out remotely. So if we want to look over those meetings, and then we would just need a motion to approve once you're ready.
I just had a few. I looked over the meeting minutes, and like in number 1, can we get rid of that second at? Call to order at?
Yes, I do see what you're talking about.
And in D of opening business, in D where it says thank instead of thank with a K to Mr. Miller. Sorry, Miss Meekins.
Oh, I see.
You're fine. Tell me, I'm trying to find it. Is it 2D? Tell me where you're at.
It's 2D, and it's the third bullet where you're thanking Mr. Miller. You forgot the K.
Oh,
You're good.
got you. It's corrected. Thank you so much for helping me.
And only if you want, in B, staffing update, where it says staffing allocation, the second black bullet where you have discussion, you just have a capital I instead of a lowercase I in discussion.
Got you. I'm trying to find that. I got it. Yep. Thank you.
Otherwise, I approve the minutes.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so minutes from March 9th, 2020 have been approved. And then we would have the agenda for tonight, April 13th, 2020. I did go ahead and put in some notes there under the NTI grading plan that we can talk about. So the agenda was sent with those notes already for us to discuss.
I make a motion to approve the agenda for April 13th.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so 413 agenda has been approved. With that, we have public comment. Mr. French, would you like to? Okay. Mr. French does not wish to talk or make any public comment tonight. We do have good news reports. So yeah, lots happened since the last time we were here. So we are in the middle of NTI. So it was a lot of, it was a lot of confusion at first and a lot of tears and a lot of hard work from everybody in the building to get it off the ground last week. So I think we got a week under our belt and kind of looking at how we can tweak some things going forward. I think we're realizing that it's a lot of work on everybody's part right now. So we talked this morning with leadership teams on how we can pull some of that back. But I do think that we've had a solid plan in place and we're kind of going with that. Also, we did have some good news in terms of STEM fair. We did receive first and second place in the STEM fair. And this was the district fair, wasn't it, Mr. French? It was a district fair. So I'd like to announce those winners coming in first. And what the students did is they produced a video It's for Halloween. Be seen, safe and seen for Halloween. And in first place, we had Tom Beck, Spencer Crawford, Will Dara, Sean Frost. Their video received first place. In second place, Lindsay Bennett, Carly Craig, Abigail Hines, and Jill Peterson. So I want to congratulate those students on a great job. Miss French worked with them. Videos were great. And do they get a cash prize? School get a cash prize? Okay, we received something. So that was some good news. Anybody else with some good news to offer? All right.
We're corona free over in this household, which I'm happy about.
Exactly. We're going to 3 at this time. So, I hope homeschooling with everybody's going well. I know it's Gibson House. It's day by day right now. So, all right. So moving on to old business budget updates. Kind of look in there. I did send the budget reports. The section 6 report, I think, is sideways, but I think it's a PDF, so you should be able to rotate that so that you can see it.
Good job, Jamie.
Yeah, there's a rotate button there you can push.
I got it. Just playing.
Gotcha. So again, the first page is the 73,000 plus is what we will carry forward for next year. So we're not using any of that right now. And then the second page is the 6C, the money that we're trying to spend down. We got to the end of April to spend that money, and it's almost gone right now. It says that we have $23,739.80 left in that budget. But it's a lot less than that. It's probably under 3,000 is what we've got once. Some of the materials that we ordered had to have quotes. So we are finishing that process. So we will have all that money spent by April 30th, which is the goal to have it all spent. So Ms. Meekins, you have anything to add on the supply spending?
I do not. I will check later with team leads and department chairs. From my understanding, Fran has sent the POs to you to forward out. Is that correct, Mr. Hooksnagel and people? We'll just talk about that later, but yes, we've been sending, I see Miller like, yeah. So we'll just talk about that because yes, the money's been spent and we're just, yes.
Okay. In the next page is your school activity fund sheet. So a lot of that money was in activity funds for end of the year stuff. So we're still on hold for how that will go at this point in time. So I know some field trips were planned, 8th grade trip and, some orchestra trips that have to be canceled. So some of that money has been refunded and placed back in some of these accounts. So some of these accounts look really, really big at this point in time, which normally isn't the case because that money's been depleted. So we'll have to wait for further instructions from the district on what we do with the school activity funds money. Because technically what Red Book says, go ahead.
No, I was just wondering, will they be able to keep that since it's not their fault that they couldn't spend it?
Right. I would think so. Red Book says that money generated within the year is supposed to be spent within that year on those students, but nobody can help what happened. So
right.
Able to stay in the budget. If it's a specific grade level money, moving from 6th to 7th grade, that I don't know if that will move up with them, but we'll have to have guidance from the district on some of these budget issues for school activity funds. Do I have any questions? Okay. Moving on to staffing update. Our last meeting, which seems like a year ago, but so much has happened. We talked about, our staffing scenario, and I was a meeting with the district at the end of that week, I believe, to see if, everything was good. So everything that we talked about in the last meeting in terms of staffing was approved. So I think the big changes on that, we did lose 2 positions, and we are losing our math intervention positions at this point in time. But, hopefully that's something that, down the road that we can add back into the staffing scenario. So everything that we approved through site-based in March was approved through the district, and we did have the money in the positions to do everything that we wanted to staff-wise. And with that, the only position right now that will be vacant, and we will be trying to schedule interviews soon for, would be a special education position. And remember, that was a position we gained 1 extra sped position with the staffing scenario. So that is open, and we do have a lot of people applying for that. And actually, the district's been really involved with screening those applicants right now. So.
Mr. Gibson, I apologize. I don't know if my computer froze for a second, but I need to get this just for the minutes. So we lost 2 teaching positions due to staffing. Did you talk about the loss of para positions? And then I got looking for a special education position because we earned that for staffing.
Yeah, it is 2 certified positions, and then 3. Well, actually, it'll be 4.5 total para positions right now. So 3 ones that we had from the district that we lost, and then we were paying for 1.5 paraprofessional positions out of our budget. And right now, we don't have the money for that, but that might be something that we come up with in the future. So 2 certified, 4.5 classified positions is what we would lose for next year.
Thank you.
Any questions? All right, moving on. New business with NTI. We've had to move fast with NTI. So the first phase was basically trying to prepare all of the lesson plans for NTI. Then the second phase, we had to get those Chromebooks distributed to all the students. And then we had to get the packets of work for students that don't have online access, all that out. And then kind of the third phase was basically starting the work and what the expectations for student work are and defining those. And now after a week, we're kind of looking at what grading for NTI work would be. And the only guidelines that were given from the state in terms of NTI grading, it says that grades should continue as normal, but nothing can be punitive. So that's the only guidelines that we have for grading. So we had a good meeting this morning with our leadership team, which included team leads and department chairs, and just talking about how we could adapt our current grading policy to include NTI work, so that we're still having expectations for work, but we don't want it to. We don't want to punish kids that may not have the resources at home to do everything, the way we're expecting it right now. So those are just bullet points that we had from team lead meeting this morning. We have Mr. Hoofnagel and Mr. Miller and Ms. Meekins all in there as well. So I'll kind of run through those bullet points, and anything that you guys want to add, feel free to add, or any questions anybody has. We said that all assignments will be formative, which means that we're not giving any summative quizzes or tests at this point. Okay, everything is just counted as formative. What we do in terms of our grading policy is we have 50% summative, made up of quizzes and tests, and then 50% of formative, which is just your class and your homework. We said that the GPA It's really not fair to count classes right now towards your GPA. So we said that the GPA will be based upon the first 3 quarters for determining promotion and any kind of awards that we give toward the end of the school year. We said that students that are failing going into the 4th quarter, we're going to hold them harmless for this quarter. So this quarter is not going to count against them. And the students that we have at each grade level that were in a situation where it didn't look like they had much of a chance to pass, we can go ahead and start them on credit recovery right now to get them to the next grade level. Students who are doing the work, right now we want to give them credit for doing the work. We didn't want a big thing that was out there. Should it be pass, fail? Should it be pass, incomplete, fail? And we felt like that our teachers felt like they wanted to honor them with grades if they are doing the work. So right now, if you are making that effort and attempting and turning work in, then you can get nowhere below a C. Teachers will mark assignments as missing if they're not turned in, and that marking will allow teachers to send out messages to parents of students that have missing work through IC. And then basically, if it comes up midterm and you've got students that have not turned anything in, then they can be marked as having an incomplete at midterm, which means then we can kind of go ahead and try to locate where their students are, find out what's going on, and try to get them busy doing some work so that they can change that incomplete to a grade before the end of the year. At the end of the year, if they still haven't done any work, that incomplete can remain on their transcript. And we kind of checked with the high schools today, and they said that is perfectly fine if that remains on their transcript. If they want to get that incomplete off, then they could do some work, maybe even over the summer, and get that turned in. I mean, we can wipe that incomplete off. So I know that's a lot out there. Any questions about that grading tweak?
I have a couple of questions just to clarify. One thing, and this another teacher asked me this earlier today. So can a teacher give a quiz or some kind of comprehension check and still just count it as formative?
I would think that answer would be yes. Right. It's all formative. It's not a summative, because summatives are 50%. So I think this is just part. Correct, Mr. Gibson?
I would think so, as long as it's understood that is still weighted the same. It's not, if you give a quiz and an assignment, then that quiz goes in as summative, it's going to be weighted more than that assignment. So yeah, but that
Okay.
Assuming that it's still marked as formative in the grade book. Yes.
Okay.
And Ms. Clay, I liked you guys calling it a comprehension check. I think that was a good thing. Instead of the word quiz or something, I think comprehension
I think that
check
was I think that was what the teacher was really asking, is like, maybe if we call it something else, because it would be formative. So, okay. And then my other question is just to clarify on the kids that are going to need to do like credit recovery work. And I know that's just a few kids. Is admin going to let teachers know kind of who that is? Because I would assume that those kids would not be doing the regular NTI work. They would only be doing credit recovery. Is that correct?
Yes, you're exactly right. So what we were doing, it's not that many kids at all, but at each grade level, I think there are 1 or 2. But yeah, we would pull them out of NTI altogether. We would let the teachers know. And then Odysseyware has been made available to us, which is a credit recovery program. So it's similar to Play-Doh, but it's a little more user-friendly than Play-Doh. So we would get them on that for credit recovery, so they would not be doing the NTI work that we're sending home.
So I have a question. If said child misses work in NTI, if they still do it, will they still have credit for that? because I have a child who decides that they don't want to do the work. Sometimes. Or they say they do it, but when I go look at it, there's nothing in it.
Yes, of course. That's why, Ms. Wilder, we said we would mark it incomplete. First, we're going to mark those assignments as missing. When marking them as missing, that helps the teachers. They can then send an email to families through IC, so that lets you know that, okay, they're missing a few assignments. And then
Yeah,
we're not going to give them those zeros. We're just going to mark it incomplete until they get that work done. So, technically.
Okay, so right now, he's looking at 2 Fs because he has missing work in 2 things that he said he did do. So my thing is he's picking and choosing which classes he likes the best to do.
Right.
So.
That's why we didn't want we didn't want to give the impression to all of our students is like, hey, you don't have to do this work. We wanted to put it out there that they are going to be responsible for this work. But there's no they've got until the end of the school year or whenever NTI is up to get this work in. So if they don't have it now, go back and make them do it and get it turned in, and to get that transcript cleaned up.
All righty.
Mr. Miller?
And Ms. Wilder.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, Ms. Wilder, he is not unique. I've been on conference calls with several of the teachers today, and some teachers are like, oh, they're doing my work. And then there's another teacher, they have not done anything for me. So that's one thing we're trying to work through. I see Ms. Clay nodding. Some of the kids, like you said, they're picking and choosing what to do right now. And so we're struggling with, honey, you have to do all of your work. It's not just you have 2 classes or something. So that's a struggle. This NTI is just something we're learning, but that's what we're noticing right now.
Yes. And then I'm working as well. So I'm like,
Yep.
I have to work, son. I can't just overlook you all day.
Yeah, believe me, I've got a 5th grader at home right now, so we're working through that as well. And you better not be watching this right now. You better be doing it.
Oh, this is live streaming. Okay.
Now everyone knows.
Right.
You said child. That was good.
Ms. Hooftagel, Mr. Miller, anything that you all want to add from the conversation this morning? Feel like that presented it pretty well, or?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'd actually had a meeting with other district principals after our meeting this morning, and we were talking about grading policy. So they kind of liked our idea. So it's been adopted. This is now the Fayette County Middle School NTI policy, kind of what we hashed out, what our leadership team did. So,
Trailblazers.
good job, guys. That's right. So,
Mr. Gibson, what was Miss Beth Lee's hashtag?
I don't know. I didn't see that.
Okay, never mind.
Okay. Sorry. So with this, since we're not changing the grading policy, we're actually just adapting our grading policy. If we had changed to something to say that we were just going to do pass fail or pass fail incomplete, then we would have to approve this just like a policy change. But I've been instructed by the district that this is just a modification. So we really don't have to vote on it, but we just wanted to review this with site-based. Is that understood? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. With that, what field trips do we have coming up, Ms. Meekins?
Yes, this is my favorite. At this time, we have no field trip request. Anyone want to approve that? No.
And I'd say that's the same with PD and fundraisers, correct?
You are correct. There are no PD requests and there are no fundraisers at this time.
We do still have some field trips out there that we're still working on refund. I know 8th grade Miss Lee and Miss French and I guess Miss Moses, Mr. Hoofnagel are kind of involved in getting some of the refund back on the 8th grade trip. And at this point in time, I'm not sure if it's all going to be refunded or what, but there is a portion of it that looks like we're going to get back. And then I know Capital League had a trip, and some of that refund money has already came back in. So that's the big thing that we're doing right now, is making sure that we can get back most all of this money that we've already paid out for some of these trips. So. All right, with that, that's pretty much it. So if there's no other questions, then we can have a motion to adjourn.
Miller.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, Mr. Gibson, do I need to put anything for agenda items for next month?
Yes.
My apologies.
We do have, I think it's staffing assignment is what it's called.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a question. So what about, we were supposed to vote for new SBDM and
Right.
stuff like that. So how does it work for next year?
Yep, that is on my to-do list this week to find out, because we've got PTSA. We should be getting ready for those elections. I think it is in April, and then we do our staffing in May. So at this point, I'm not sure what that will look like, but I'm gonna get on the phone tomorrow and try to get some answers to that, because we got to get a plan for that. So.
And Ms. Wilder, KASC has provided some guidance for that as well. And so Mr. Gibson will talk about that. And so
Okay.
it's going to be different, everyone said, in this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we had the motion adjourned from Mr. Miller. We have a
Yeah,
second.
motion to adjourn at 5:29.
Okay. All right. Thank you all so much. Hope this wasn't too hard.
Yes.
This
Did
is
I get a
nice.
second? Who
Yes.
seconded the motion to adjourn, please?
Abby.
Okay, Abby.
Clay,
Okay.
thank you.
I don't know.
Second.
Did you second? Ms. Thank you.
Oh.
Deuces.
All right, we'll probably be remotely again next month. So stay safe, stay healthy. Let us know if you need anything.
Wash your hands.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, the governor.
guys.
Yeah, perfect time for the governor. You can get the nightly update. So.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.